Welcome to the Find Your Voice podcast. I'm just starting the recording all over again. I just spoke for about 5 minutes and then my camera went off because I'm putting this on YouTube and as a podcast only, listen only. And it cut off on me and I realized probably I did not hit record. I only hit record on the audio side of things. So let's start all over again. Today I want to talk a little bit about why not. This is a question I have recently asked myself. And let me rewind a little bit. So when it comes to what we should do, I have felt held back by what I think I ought to do because of what others think and what the conventional norm is. And in particular, there's one topic, especially when it comes to me wanting to grow my family, which has been very much at the center of things, and it's getting more real, slowly getting all the stuff ready, all the paperwork for the clinic and starting to get all my tests done. And the plan is to drive, hopefully in May, drive to Poland this time and have another frozen embryo transfer of donated embryos. And I say I would like to add more children to my family. And yes, I say that in the plural because it is actually what I want. And let me rewind. When I was living at home, my dad was very, very strict. So basically he told me, if you ever come home, like as a teenager, if you come home and you have a boyfriend, you're in big trouble, young lady. And so I actually met a young man when I was 15 and we kept it a secret for, I think, a couple months. And then for some reason, my dad found out. Someone talked to him and they had seen me together with him somewhere. And it was a really small town where we lived. Oh my goodness, was I in trouble? That's an understatement. Not only was I in trouble with my dad, but my dad dragged me over there. And the young man was my neighbor. Get this. Like, how embarrassing. He dragged me over there and he made us tell each other that we're not going to meet anymore, which of course we did. And we kept it secret. And then my heart was broken when my boyfriend then, very first love of my life, wrote a little note. And my friend, my girlfriend, my bestie, she handed me that little note that was folded up like 5 times. This is a letter from him. And my heart sank because I'm like, why is he writing me a letter? I mean, he had written me letters before, like little notes that he gave my friend and then me, because he was her, long story, but like her neighbor. He worked at my neighbor's. It was the carpenter of our town. And he did like an Ausbildung, which is like learning, like a vocational training thing. But he actually lived, him and his family. He lived with his parents, of course, back then. I was 15, he was 17. And they lived across from my friend's house. And so she gave me notes. And before that, the notes had been, sweet little like, oh, I love you. And it was just so cute. And this time the note was not good. He broke up with me saying that he just couldn't handle keeping it a secret, which was understandable on the one hand. And on the other hand, it just really broke my heart. And by the way, the girl he got together with right after me, they're still married today and they have 2 grown-up boys. That's crazy, right? So he may have been the one that I would have just married and been with. But it's a good thing. It's all good. Then I met my now ex-husband. And if he had been the one saying, I mean, we were together we met when I was 18 and we got divorced when I was 30. Well, really 32 because we separated when I was 30 and then it took a couple of years for like all the divorce and stuff. But if he had been the one, even while we were in college, if he had said to me, sweetie, I would love to have kids. Are you on board? I would have been so on board. I would have been like, yes. And I know most women, I know not everyone, but most women have that desire to have a baby. And I was all like, yeah, I would have wanted it. I would have been like, we can do it all. We can go to college and we can somehow do this. I want children. But he just wasn't in a position. He mentally was not in that position. And so I'm not the one who's going to force, and I felt this is not supposed to be now. So I waited. I did the smart thing. Don't bring children into this world until you're like very settled and everything's very for certain and everything is like great and financially. So I waited, and then I met the next guy. I mean, it took a while. It's not that easy, right? And we were together for 4.5 years, and it ended up not working out again. There was actually a short period of time toward the end where we're like actually thinking, maybe we could try. Maybe we could try, and we can definitely get married, but he never took action. And it's one of the reasons why we never ended up being together, beyond the almost 5 years that we were together. So then I was single again. And then I met the next man, which is my oldest daughter's biological dad. And we agreed because now I was already like 35, 36. And we agreed that if we can like be together for a year at least, we could try to maybe not avoid having children, because we were both, my clock was definitely ticking and he's even older. And so we then tried, and then I got pregnant. But then he never wanted to move in with me. And then he never really wanted to commit. And then he just kept talking about like, yeah, we'll do the right thing eventually. And eventually never happened. And so I found myself like, okay, I guess I'm whipping this all by myself. No matter what anyone says or where he says would eventually happen. To this day, eventually hasn't happened, and it wouldn't. So consequences, I'm by myself. And so the thing is, because I've kept waiting, because I'm like, okay, I'm still hoping to meet the right man, and it's all complicated. Or maybe reworded. For me, I didn't ever have the feeling like that anyone that I had a date with, and there were lots, I really connected with. I never really felt that familiar feeling. You know what I mean? When you meet someone, it either feels like this is a human being that I can talk to, and that's all great. But there needs to be this level of, I feel like I could be close to this person in some way, shape, or form. And yes, it does take some getting to know someone. But even after trying, like several times I tried, but I couldn't get that feeling of falling in love. And I don't know, me personally, I need something where I can have the feeling like I could be close to them, even intimate. Because what if I feel like I don't want to be touched by someone? That's not a relationship. I mean, to me, that is something I would want, that level. But here I am. I'm turning 50 this year. And it took me so many years to realize that, why did I ever, every date that I went on and everything I ever did in life, and even talking to other people, I always somehow masked the fact that I actually have the desire to have a large family, and I always have. From the moment I held my oldest daughter after she was born, I knew, I mean, of course, that's when you're going to have a hormonal oxytocin rush like insane. And that's when any mother is going to feel like this is the best thing that ever happened to me in my entire life. But it was much more than just that moment. It lingered on forever, and it still does. It never went away. I started following a lot of families on YouTube, especially YouTube, and I listened to podcasts like large families. It always not only fascinated me, but it was like, I just would love that. Children are the best. And even now, I have 3 now. I have toddlers that are twins. It's amazing. It's a lot of work sometimes. Sometimes it can be physically exhausting, but my goodness, when I could almost cry right now, because when I see them lie in bed at night, or when they look at me sometimes, there are no words. There are literally no words that can describe that feeling and how much it gives me. And you know what? I can have these children, and I can still write books, and I can still, my goodness, I have four YouTube channels, 3 podcasts, and like, I want to write more books. I want to do more videos and do all this content and move to the States. It's all about getting help doing all these things. All the dates I have been on, I haven't been on any for a while. A year ago, maybe I was on the last date. Maybe it was even 2 years ago. I don't think last year I went on any dates. because I had decided that, oh, this is maybe not the right time because I have little babies and I still want to have another baby. That's not, no, everyone's going to think I'm crazy. Like, I'm going to be on this dating platform and they're like starting to talk to me. And then I'm going to tell them, well, I have twins and I got them through embryo adoption and I want another. I'm about to go to Poland and then I will be pregnant with donor embryo, and the baby, I don't know genetically who is the parent. And my ex is going to sign the paper probably at the birth certificate. So the kids are all like, they all have the same dad officially, unless I meet another partner that I'm really deciding to like, this is a long-term thing. And I always kept thinking, I can't do that. I can't go and put myself out there and be where I am now. I have to be in a situation where like, I'll just do this all on my own. I still have that desire to have a partner one day. And yes, I talk to him all the time. I send out those vibrations. I know who he is. When I meet him, I will totally know the feeling. I don't know what he looks like, but I know that feeling he gives me. But I asked myself, why not? Why couldn't I get on the dating apps? And why couldn't I start talking to men in the exact situation that I'm in now? Here's my thing. This is me. I'm in the situation. I'm almost 50. I've been working on my business. I'm self-employed. I live life on my own terms. My time is free. I decide what I do with my time. Financially independent. And I have the desire. I've always had the desire to have a big family. It just hasn't worked out with any of my partners. And if I met a man who had no children, or one child, or 2, or 3, or 4, or 5, or more, if it is the right person, I would be good with all of it as long as he is also good with my desires, with who I am. My desires are who I am. It's not just a crazy thing. It's innate. Why would I want to hide it? Why would I want to feel embarrassed about the desire to continue being a mom? And I know some people say, well, you're too old and it's selfish and your children are going to be young when you die. That is not true. Yes, statistically, I have less years to live than maybe someone who has a child when they're 25. But the very reason why I want more siblings for my kids is because they have each other. The more they have each other, it's going to be amazing. And I realize that even siblings among each other, it's not always the perfect relationship, but it's family. It's what's there. It's different from friends. It's family. And why would I even tell myself that I have to hide that desire to have a large family? And you know what? If I meet a man who has 10 kids, all by 3 different women, I'm happy. If we're supposed to be together, we're going to work through this and we're going to be this happy place for all these children because we have our crap together and we are not victims. And what if I could find that person? And I'm not going to apologize for this anymore. And the truth is, if 99% of all the men I talk to on those dating apps say that is not for me, that's amazing. It's great. They're still good people. It doesn't change the fact that I have the desires that I do have. So might as well be upfront with it. But what if there's also this person? If I'm like that, why couldn't there be a man who's in a very similar situation and has the very similar desires? Whether he has no children yet or wants lots of children? Just because we get older, does that mean we have to become a different person and say, oh, but now I'm hitting 50 and therefore I'm not allowed to have the desires that I had when I was 30? What if life just doesn't go the way that maybe the norm goes? And we want to be all tolerant nowadays about all the wokeness. And I have no problem with anyone who wants to do whatever they want to do. I don't mind. I love them all. I don't care if someone wants to be transgender or bisexual or whatever it is. All the labels, I don't even know all of them probably. I'm happy as long as they're happy. And why wouldn't it be acceptable for a woman who is almost 50 or is about to turn 50 to have the desire to have children? And maybe there are unconventional ways. And you know what? There are a bunch of siblings and there's love. There's a circle. I have a village. I have friends. I have people who are with me now in my life. And why am I not allowed to be accepted and to say, this is normal? This is not out there. It is a very basic human thing. I want to be connected and I want to be a mother and I want to have a husband. And I still feel my identity is to be a wife. I was a wife for 12 years and I don't think I was too bad at it. It didn't work out in the end, but I am going to not apologize for having the desires that I do have. And you know what? I went on the app and I changed my profile and I'm putting it all out there, putting all the things that I am right now, including that I want to grow my family. And you know what? If someone reads that and thinks she's off her rockers, good. Swipe left, continue, because clearly, even if I hide it, we're not a match, because this is like when you get to know me, you're going to find out. So I might as well be honest, not in a provocative way, but in a very authentic way. I'm just going to be me and I'm not going to apologize just because I feel like this is what someone expects. I don't want to find the man who, like, I fulfill his expectations, but I want to find the man who loves me for who I am. And more importantly, no, equally important, who supports my dreams and who's all on board with what I want my life to look like. So if I tomorrow could find, tomorrow would be best. If I could just find this man, and I don't care if he's a little older, a little younger, or I don't care. It's all about the feeling. This person that I have been talking to, and I don't know why I feel like he's an American. Why am I thinking that? I don't know why why do I think he's an American? I also feel like I'm going to have another child and it's going to be a girl. I might be all wrong, but it's something that I saw in some moments. What if I could meet him, and just because I'm just putting all these limitations on myself of like, oh no, but I can't. And my question is like, why not? Ask yourself, like, why not? Why not? Because of what people think? Because you're embarrassed? Because it sounds a little crazy? Who says what's crazy? Elon Musk thinks we could live on Mars. Is that crazy? Like, everyone respects him? Well, I don't know about everyone, but he's respected because besides having that vision, he has shown that most of the visions he's had, he has actually gotten there to where it became reality. And then someone said to me recently, but you can't compare yourself to Elon Musk. Why not? I mean, like, I'm not in the market for like creating electric cars or rockets or Neuralink or going to Mars. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here for showing that you can still grow your family. It doesn't matter how old you are. When I go to the States, I might adopt more children. And I would love that. I would love that. So I'm putting it out there to the universe that I'm open and I'm not embarrassed anymore and I don't care, because the right person is totally going to get it. The person that is going to get me is going to get this, all of it. So ask yourself, why not? It's always the best question. And I've been asking some people, like you said, oh, but you can't do that. And I always ask, like, why not? Well, because this and that. And then when you really start thinking about it, it's ridiculous. Some of the reasons and some of the limitations we put on ourselves, like, why not? It's like, oh, I can't do that. Like, why not? Well, because, and then when you start thinking about it, well, maybe there is a way. So instead of asking why not, instead of saying I can't, I ask, how can I? And why not? How can I? That is the question. And that is the question right now. My coach, I think it was 2 years ago, I think pretty much exactly 2 years ago, I had a coaching session with him, and it was about this topic of finding a partner. And he said, well, get on all, because I said, like, I've done everything. Like, I've gone all these dates and I feel like I've done everything. The truth is, I have not done everything to find a partner. And he said, well, get on all the dating apps. So, because the cool thing is, if I'm just honest up front, I don't have to start talking to so many people. I only have to talk to a few, because only those who kind of continue talking to me after knowing some of the parameters, that already is going to sift out a bunch. So yes, don't apologize for your authentic dreams that are who you are. Just do it. Find a way to do it. How can you? That is the question. Thank you so much for watching or listening today. Make sure you subscribe, whether you are listening just audio only podcast or on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to not miss any updates, because there's a lot of coming. My Texas LLC story continues. I officially have a company in Texas now, so the investments can begin, but I'll tell you more next time. Have an amazing day. Be blessed. And don't forget to dream big.